The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Each year, Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for the feast of Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up according to festival custom. After they had completed its days as they were returning, the boy Jesus remained behind in Jerusalem, but his parents did not know it. Thinking he was in the caravan, they journeyed for a day and looked for him among their relatives and acquaintances. But not finding him, they returned to Jerusalem to look for him. After 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. And all who heard him were astounded at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished, and his mother said to him, "Son, why have you done this to us? Your father and I have been looking for you with great anxiety." And he said to them, "Why were you looking for me? Did you not know that I must be in my Father's house?" But they did not understand what he said to them. He went down with them and came to Nazareth and was obedient to them. And his mother kept all these things in her heart. And Jesus advanced in wisdom and age and favor before God and man. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
A commentator has noted it might not be the best thing for the church to have this Feast of the Holy Family so close to Christmas. Really, any family is going to pale in comparison to the Holy Family. We might end up feeling frustrated and disappointed in our own families, this Feast of the Family at Christmas time. And on the other hand, we as families, we tend to spend so much time together at Christmas, and when we spend time together, like a lot of time together, there can be a certain amount of stress involved in that, which can have the kind of tendency to bring up old hurts, old wounds, old animosities, and then the next thing you know, people are not acting the way they really should. It can happen like that, can it? Right? Thank you. I didn't know if that was just something that happened in Philadelphia. Here on Tybee, it's peace and joy and love. And thank you. And the good news is that, how about the Holy Family in today's story, right? Well, that was a stressful moment, wasn't it, right? Jesus wanders off and does his own thing. And we note that he's 12 years old, right? Just like a 12-year-old boy to wander off and do his own thing. My my mother would tell the story of my two brothers. Of course, it was my two brothers, not me. I was the good one. And you're laughing. My two brothers. No, really, I'm the one that became the priest. My two brothers were with my dad, and he stopped at the store and left them in the car. Bad move. And, then he got delayed, so they got bored and they decided, oh, well, we'll walk home by ourselves. We'll walk home on our own. And of course, as you can imagine, naturally, they got lost. And so my parents spent quite a while looking for them. And I mean, it affected my mother so profoundly that years later, she would tell that story. And you could feel the anxiety, the fear that was in her heart as they were searching for them. So she could relate to Mary and Joseph in the situation in which they found themselves. The thing is, where did they find Jesus? They found him in the house of the Father, right? They found him in the house of the Father. The Holy Family and all families have their struggles, their stressors, their distressors. And this simple answer that the gospel gives us is to look for Jesus in the home of the Father. And here you are, right? You're here. I want to say hi to the folks who are on the live streaming. We know you would be here if you could. Here you are. Cardinal Tagle from the Philippines gave a talk at the end of the World Meeting of Families in 2015. And he said, the family is the place where our greatest hurts take place and the place where the greatest healing can take place as well. And I think he has that right. He is a cardinal, of course. We're so vulnerable, aren't we, to the people that we love. We're so much more vulnerable to the people that we love. And so things that they say and do can hurt us that much more deeply. And yet for exactly the very same reason, the members of our family, when we forgive, when we are compassionate, when we understand, when we love, can be such a great source of healing and peace in our lives. St. Paul has a couple of lists that I love that remind us of, like, when we're pointed toward God as individuals, as in a family, like something flows out of that. When we're seeking Christ in the home of the Father, what do we receive? He has this beautiful list. I love it. It's from the letter to the Galatians. This is what God gives us when we're honestly and persistently and patiently seeking Christ in the home of the Father. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Imagine ourselves and our families as people and families who are characterized by those virtues. In contrast, he talks about when we try to live a life apart from God, how are we then? This is in his letter to Titus. We are foolish, we are disobedient, we are deluded, we are slaves to various desires and pleasures. We live in malice and envy, hateful in ourselves and hateful of one another. The solution to the problem that life poses is quite simply to seek God together as a family. And we can't always do that. Not everybody is always in agreement. Not always, everyone is always on board. But at least in the spirit of Mary and Joseph, if we are seeking for Christ in the home of the family, ultimately we trust that God will lead not only ourselves, but all the members of our family, all those that we care for and love, to seek him as well, and to find him, and so to find each other there. And so today, just make this simple little suggestion. Okay, so Christ is here, we know that. We know that already. We know that we have come to the house of the Father and Christ is present. And he is giving himself to us in the word and in the sacrament that we receive. Take Jesus with you. Take him home. Let Jesus dwell in your home, dwell in your family in love. And he will fill your home with those gifts and graces that he so desires to give and share not only with you, but your whole family as well.